Hello, world. Welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. Hello, world, and welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. We're broadcasting live from the Joy Virtual Studio right here in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of New York State. It is so great to be with all of you today. We're broadcasting live from Rumble, live on Twitter, Spreely TV, Roku TV, Apple TV, every podcast platform you can ever imagine. Super pumped to be broadcasting live on the Died Suddenly platform as well. And so thankful for our producers over at Died Suddenly, making it happen every day on the Shannon Joy Show. I hope you are all well. It is Thursday, October 2nd, and we have a lot to talk about today. Fallout from the disastrous press conference. Donald Trump, Bobby Kennedy Jr., Marty Macri lining up, sidling up, marrying the big pharma executives. Sasha Latypova yesterday called it an unholy marriage of big pharma and big government, Donald Trump, and tragically, Bobby Kennedy Jr., who looks like he's being held hostage in the corner. Some people are giving him a break on that. I'm saying, well, no, you have a lot of power, buddy, over there at HHS. You need to be taking care of business. But the backlash has been swift and violent, figuratively speaking, of course. The medical freedom movement is not buying this. They're not accepting it, and they're not accepting any type of 12-dimensional chess justification, trust the plan justification for what went down just a couple days ago. So we are going to be discussing that today on the Shannon Joy Show. Medical freedom community raging against the Trump-Pfizer deal, and the MAHA front, which you guys know, we believe here that MAHA and MAGA are psyops. They are designed to infiltrate, corrupt, and break apart very real, bottom-up, grassroots movements against tyranny. And so the medical freedom movement, millions of Americans, mom, dads, grandmas, grandpas, kids, you name it, raged against COVID lockdowns. We resisted forced masking. We resisted all of the COVID mitigation protocols, which were frankly absurd. And most importantly, we resisted against the coerced, forced vaccination of millions of Americans after Operation Warp Speed. But so many of our brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers were injured by those COVID shots. It's why no one in America takes COVID shots anymore, which is why Pfizer stock was plummeting, which is probably why Pfizer struck a deal with Donald Trump, naming rights and $70 billion in investment in new mRNA technologies, and engaged in that circus sideshow that we saw just a couple days ago. It's also the reason that, wow, lo and behold, Pfizer stock is up 27%. The headline blasted just today. Well, of course it is. When you align with the most powerful man in the world and the most powerful government in the world, and the government can use all of its assets and all of its resources to prop up a corporation, well, yeah, your stock's going to go up. But it's not because you make anything worthwhile, and it's not because you make anything that helps the American people. Quite the opposite. Pfizer now is going to be bringing to America, made in America, the poison that they inflicted upon us in 2020 and beyond. We also saw a tidy little promotion for Paxlovid during that press conference as well. I don't know if you guys missed that, but Donald Trump told everyone to go out and get Paxlovid, or that he wanted Paxlovid, after Bobby Kennedy Jr. sneezed in the background. It was a funny little shtick that they engaged in, and a great promotion and advertisement worth probably a cool, I don't know, $100 million for Pfizer, which produces Paxlovid. So not only do you have the announcement of the deal between the federal government and a private corporation, which bumps up the stock price overnight, you also get $100 million worth of advertising for Pfizer products, brand name recognition, and also, the president of the United States saying, go out and get your Paxlovid, which, by the way, is a huge problem because Paxlovid is toxic. It has a black box warning, and it has counterindications with hundreds of very commonly used medications on the market. We're going to talk about that today too on the Shannon Joy Show. Very important video and an overview of just how toxic Paxlovid is. By the way, which also an admission that their vaccines don't work, right? The vaccines don't work. You got COVID, mild COVID. Go ahead and take this toxic substance, Paxlovid, which could kill you for the sniffles that you have in the mild case of COVID that you have, even though you got vaccinated 7 or 8 times and boosted. I mean, it's just absurd. It's absurd. And quite frankly, this is why these pharmaceutical corporations need the federal government to drag their corpse across the finish line in terms of any type of market value or profit making. They can't do it themselves because nobody wants their products. It's so disgusting, right? Anyway, so the MAHA front is cracking, and we have statements from Tom Renz. I saw on the live chat today, some of you were talking about Tom Renz and his reaction. The medical freedom movement, very different from MAHA, which was the corporately created psyop designed to break the movement apart. Thank you, Jesus, it didn't work. We're stronger than ever. But the bottom line here is this: the millions of people who stood up against lockdowns, forced masking, and forced vaccinations are categorically rejecting the Trump-Pfizer deal, and Trump himself, and even Bobby Kennedy Jr. Many in the medical freedom community are now calling for Bobby Kennedy Jr. to step down. He's already lost so much of his credibility, so much of the work that he put into creating this medical freedom movement over the past 20 years, slowly but surely is being chipped away at as he has to capitulate and be a part of and complicit in the actions of this president, who is so clearly bought off by big pharma and big tech and big global and big digital and all the bigs, all right, through Susie Wiles, his chief of staff. So more importantly, though, this community is not forgetting the suffering of those who were killed or maimed by the COVID shots. We want justice. I know you want justice. Mary Talley Bowden had an amazing show yesterday with warriors across the country who are organizing from the bottom up and taking this to the courts. We're not giving up in the courts. She had a wonderful interview with Warner Mendenhall and Brooke Jackson. We're going to look at that clip as well today on the Shannon Joy Show. So they fight for justice. Brooke Jackson is the woman who is suing Pfizer for billions for committing fraud during the clinical trials pre-operation Warp Speed. She witnessed the fraud. She witnessed what Pfizer was doing. And her case is one of the most important cases in the world. And Pam Bondi, working at the pleasure of Donald Trump, is blocking their efforts. I want to encourage you guys to go back, watch that interview between Mary Talley Bowden yesterday on her show On Call with Mary Talley Bowden and Warner Mendenhall and Brooke Jackson. It is a critical case. I'm going to be welcoming Warner and Brooke into the Joy Virtual Studio next week to continue that conversation and talk about the legalities of forced medical procedures, specifically vaccination. The case history in this country is horrifying, and it's all rooted in eugenics. We're going to talk about that next week with Warner and Brooke. I'm very thrilled to welcome them into the Joy Virtual Studio. The people want justice. That's the bottom line. And it's evident that a critical mass do not believe that Trump was the champion that they were led to believe. And as I mentioned, tragically, Bobby Kennedy Jr. seems to be more impotent than ever, which is leading to calls for him to step down from his position at HHS. before he loses any more of his battered credibility. All right, so these are some of the topics that we are going to be hitting today in the Shannon Joy Show. But first, a quick word from our sponsor over at Kimchi One from Brightcore. This is an amazing product. You guys know I've been focusing on my gut. It's something that I haven't really paid attention to for most of my adult life, but we need that good 85 to 15% good bacteria to bad bacteria in our gut. And here's some interesting information. Did you know that US life expectancy peaked at 78 years in 2014, and global life expectancy is declining for the first time in 30 years. And this is because people are aging faster than ever before. Why? Because of toxins in the air, chemicals in our soil, in our food, and other external factors, including mass vaccination, that are new to these generations. And what people don't know is that we can actually fight aging on a cellular level. And Kimchi One is one of the ways that you can begin to fight that battle. Each capsule of Kimchi One delivers over 900 probiotic strains plus antioxidants and enzymes that support your digestion, metabolism, and skin health from the inside out. Kimchi One is also a natural antimicrobial, helps your body fight off harmful bacteria, viruses, and even toxins while boosting your immunity and energy. It is a miracle food. And if you don't like cabbage that's fermented with garlic and other wonderful things that are really great for your gut, but might not taste so good going down, then you need Kimchi One. It is a capsule. It doesn't have any of that type of flavor. It's very easy to take. I take it every day, 3 capsules. It's 100% made in the USA, all natural, non-GMO, and it will support your gut. Right now, Kimchi One is 50% off. 50, but that is only if you use the toll-free number. Call them, have a conversation, 888-912-4317. Right now, limited time, 50% off, free shipping, and they are giving away a free bottle of vitamin D3, which is like a $30 value in and of itself. This is just for the Joy audience. So you have to go to mybrightcore.com/joy. That is mybrightcore.com/joy. The 800 number is right there. If you use the promo code JOY, you'll get a straight up 25% off. But, let's have a conversation. Give them a call. Again, 888-912-4317. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk to all of you. We have a lot to go through today in the show, but I want to get to that live chat. I see some of your comments, and yeah, I see that someone got verbally assaulted on Steve Bannon's chat today because they were concerned about the Trumpster lining up, aligning with, engaging in an unholy alliance or marriage with pharma, the worst company on the face of the planet, right? And so, yes, there are many out there in the MAGA community that do not want to address what is happening. But Trump is betraying us, and it's not just one betrayal, right? It's been a trifecta. From the endless wars that he's ramping up again as he's banging the drums for World War III, also a police state in the United States of America, to the rug pull on the Epstein files, and now the rug pull under the medical freedom community. This is outrageous. The mask is coming off, and many on the MAGA right are having a really hard time explaining this to their audience. They're trying. We're going to look at some of their attempts as well today on the Shannon Joy Show. So we're going to take a quick break. I also have a funny video for you, actually. A great comedian, his reaction to the just stunning betrayal of Donald Trump in terms of this alliance with pharma. So we're going to get to that as well. So keep it tuned right here. When we come back, we're going to hit the live chat first on, and then we'll get to all of our videos and all of our stories for today. Make sure you pay attention. The Pavlovid or the Paxlovid warnings are really, really important. Okay, keep it tuned here. We'll be back in a minute on the Shannon Joy Show. You guys know that one of our amazing sponsors is Colonial Metals Group. We could not bring this show to you, this expansion, this studio, the ability to bring Annie in to produce the show. This is all because of some of our key sponsorships. And Colonial Metals Group has been a partner with the Shannon Joy Show. They have helped so many of you begin your gold and silver journey, whether it's through the purchase of physical gold and silver or through an independent IRA backed by gold and silver. They can do transfers. They can take a 401k and transfer a portion of that or the entire thing into an individual IRA backed by gold and silver that you direct, right? So you have all the control over it. It is much faster and much easier than I ever imagined. It took less than a couple days for me to get mine set up, and they are standing by. They are ready to talk to all of you about how you can begin to protect your retirement. colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. That is colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. Please use that URL. Make sure that you tell them that Shannon Joy sent you. Thank you to Satellite Phone Store, sat123.com/joy, sat123.com/joy. Without their amazing sponsorship, we couldn't bring the show to you every day. And it's always 10% off for every Joy viewer and listener with the promo code JOY. Why do we love them? Well, among other things, the satellite phones, the generators, the solar panels, everything you need for when the lights go out. They also have the most extensive line, one of the best quality lines of Faraday technology, beanies, bags, blankets, apparel. This is a way for you to reduce your body's exposure to EMF, electromagnetic frequencies. And as we know, talking to Dr. Williams, that exposure can impact your heart health. And so a regular usage of that type of technology, super helpful. Again, so thankful to the Satellite Phone Store, among our other sponsors. Vive Biotics. This is an amazing product. I have learned over the past 12 years of presenting and reporting and commentating and analyzing the politics of the day from an independent perspective. I have learned to trust my gut, like that, my gut, like the gut sense that you get. And, we always talk about our, trusting our gut and trusting our instincts. And that's something I think that has kept me pretty safe. I've always trusted my gut, but did you know that your gut is actually, this is where the beginning of health comes from. So much is reliant on what goes on in your gut. And if you have a leaky gut or gut issues, then it can impact every aspect of your physical health. So your gut is supposed to have an 85 to 15% of good bacteria versus bad bacteria. And that's what keeps you healthy. But if that ratio is off, then you can experience sluggishness, bloating, inflammation, all sorts of health impacts. So if you've ever dealt with bloating, low energy, or just feeling off in the gut, you're not alone. It turns out that gut health is the master switch for so many things: digestion, immunity, and even your mood. So you can make sure that 85 to 15% ratio is perfect in your gut with Vive Biotics from Perfect Origins. I'm using it right now. It is not your run-of-the-mill probiotic pill. It has 15 different probiotic strains plus prebiotics, and they've put them through this special fermentation process so they actually survive your stomach acid and make it to your intestines, and that's where all the good stuff happens, and they do their work. This is going to help restore your gut to the 18 to 15 good to bad bacteria balance. It can improve digestion, reduce your bloating, and also support regularity. It boosts your immune system and also your energy levels, and also supports healthy skin and even mood throughout the gut-brain connection. It's vegan, it's dairy-free, gluten-free, and non-GMO. And right now you can get a free 3-month supply of Vive Biotics by going to my URL. It's www.perfectorigins.com/SJS VB. But TJ is going to pop that URL up in the live chat so you guys can go CJP Rumble. I don't know if I need pre or pro. You need both CJP Rumble, both prebiotic and probiotic. All right. So go right now, click on the link. CJ's going to pop it up in the live chat and also in the comment section of the Shannon Joy Show right here on Rumble. It's also in my show notes. If you want to click on that, you can win a free 3-month supply of Vive Biotics. You can try it out, but they also have 25% off for the Joy audience right now. And you get that by going to that URL. And so with that, and I do believe, you need to put in the Joy promo code JOY for that additional 25% off. This is a great way to try it out and get your gut functioning properly with that right balance, okay? So thank you to Vive Biotics. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Shannon Joy Show. Huge thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Colonial Metals Group and Vive Biotics, of course, the satellite phone store. When you patronize the advertisers at the Shannon Joy Show, you help us to grow. So for those of you who are customers now of Colonial and Sat123 and Vive Biotics, I appreciate you and I thank you. And they're great products and services. So let's get to the live chat. Again, we have a lot to get to today, a lot of great videos, very funny video of the initial reaction to the unholy alliance of Donald Trump and Pfizer executive Albert Bourla. Yes, they'd have very, very horrifying, ugly, horrifying children. It's just awful. But anyway, let's say hello to everyone on the live chat. You guys look great. We have Guitar Lily with us saying hello. Ranger 1791. Boy, oh boy. He said, we have been proven right about Trump. Too bad most of the MAGA population still doesn't believe. Many still believe that it is a little bit of 12-dimensional chess. We have to trust the plan, all the things. I don't, but I agree with you, Ranger 1791. Honestly, he says, can't hand to God. I was screaming back before his first run at Prez for our side not to trust him. I'm not that brilliant. I just paid attention to his past, and that's all. I do have today, I linked it in the show notes today, a book. Now, I don't really read political books anymore. If it's not over 100 years old, I don't want to read it. That's just how I am these days. There's so many books out there. Everyone writes a book. People write a book before they hit the age of 20. In fact, I don't think anyone should write a biography or a book unless they hit 70, because it's like, what have you really learned? But anyway, in the show notes, I linked to a book called The End of Globalism by Susan Bradford. And in the overview of the book, I think I'm going to read this. This is not a promotion. I don't even know who Susan Bradford is. But in reading the overview of the book, I think she nails Donald Trump, like just nails it as to who he really is and what the story is. And I think everyone has the story wrong. The left sees him as some right-wing capitalist who is, a fascist, and he's horrifying. He's, misogynistic, and he's going, this evil, sinister character that is going to bring down, the United States of America. And I don't think that's actually quite right. The right sees him as some type of savior, hero, Jesus Christ figure, that if he's not Jesus Christ, then maybe he's the Antichrist, but we love him anyway because he's going to usher in the apocalypse and then Jesus will come back. That's some of the twisted thinking among some in the religious right about Trump. But I think everyone's getting him wrong. I think it's much simpler than people actually think. We're going to take a look at that later in the program. So thanks for reminding me of that, Ranger 1791, the real Donald Trump. And I think that it's going to become clear very soon what his agenda was. But we have other people on the live chat. Green Tea 369 is with us. Zoe Joey 123, welcome to the live chat. Glad you're here today. It's great to see you. I was verbally attacked on the Bannon feed this morning for speaking out about the deal with Pfizer. They don't want to see it. No one does. Most of the big squawkers on the right are absolutely silent about this alignment, and it's quite disturbing. But there are many who are not silent at all. Tom Renz had a great statement, which we'll be reading to you. Dr. Peter McCullough tweeted out immediately that they were sweeping under the rug death and destruction, years of death and destruction, by joining up with Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla. And obviously, Dr. Mary Talley Bowden speaking out, Sasha Latypova speaking out. If you guys want to pop into the live chat, some of the big names that have been holding the line on this. I saw some great stuff from Maria Z. She's unbelievable. By the way, got to get Maria Z back on the show. We did a ton of collaboration in the early dark days of COVID when she was in Australia. She's now in the United States of America, and I've got to get her on the show again. So I'm going to be working on that. Emerald Robinson, absolutely fantastic. Tom Renz, fantastic as well. Alex Jones, nowhere to be found. Clearly, Steve Bannon doesn't care at all. And most of the MAGA promoters and MAHA promoters haven't heard anything from Robert Malone. Most of them are just being silent on this, but they're not going to be able to be silent much longer because people's voices are really cutting through right now. HBaird36, great to see you on the live chat. Yesterday, I was watching the intro on the Shannon Joy Show thinking most of the people today in politics won't have anything to do with Shannon because she has held the line against putting Trump back in after what he did to us during COVID. HBaird36, you're absolutely right. I have been deplatformed, thrown off radio stations. I've lost production. I've lost advertising sponsors. I've been shadow banned, kicked off Facebook, kicked off Twitter, arrested for protesting at a school board meeting, the masking, like everything, you name it, for just continuing to try to hold the line on truth. And it's been great. You know, like it hasn't been fun. I would have appreciated a little more promotion over the years, but it forced us and it forced me to build this platform 100% independently. And it's why I can come to you guys every day and just tell you like the bare knuckled truth from my perspective, right? I don't get everything right, but you know what you're going to get from me is honest. It's authentic. I actually believe it. And it is outside of the two-party political paradigm, like firmly, not fake independent, like Tucker Carlson, God bless his soul. Like Tucker calls himself independent, but the second we get within proximity of an election cycle or especially a presidential election cycle, he falls right back into his partisan position. And that's really same with Candace Owens. People say that Candace is independent. She's not. Okay. You know, God bless them. They can be whatever they want, but they're always going to align because the thing that must be protected, the lie that is the most precious lie that must be protected at all costs is the two-party political paradigm. The fake ass, false choice, two-party political circus that we are subjected to here in the US. They have to keep us divided, right? So that's why 99% of the people, Steve Bannon, Alex Jones, Tucker, all of them, show me an election cycle where they say none of the above, which is what we've been saying here at the Shannon Joy Show for the past 12 years, right? And they'll say, oh, well, you gotta vote, Shannon. Okay, I think that local organization is more important than voting. But anyway, I digress. So thank you, Baird Third. I appreciate that comment. And we're just fine. Hopefully, I will be proof to all of you, any of you out there who want to start a podcast or you want to start a journal or write a column or become an influencer or work for one of the, corporations that does news and analysis. Like, I want you to know you can do it the independent way. You can do it outside the two-party political system. And if I can do it, you can do it too. All right. And it's not just me. There are some other wonderful independents out there that are building up, and we feature them here on the Shannon Joy Show all the time. Okay. So I don't want you guys just to have me as a source. I want you to have lots of good sources. And that's why we bring in so many guests. Ralph, the Flying Dutchman, love seeing you on the live chat. I love your name. I just saw attorney Tom Renz, who was speaking out about MAHA. Well, I'm so glad you bring that up, Ralph the Flying Dutchman, because that is on my show notes today. I have a tweet from Tom Renz that I want to read to you, which I think is fantastic. It's his analysis about this unholy alliance. He hasn't been on my show either. I have to work on getting Tom Renz on. Anyway, this is what he had to say regarding the Trump-Pfizer deal. There is no deal that could be made to justify this, says Tom Renz. Trump made the deal with the devil, and this was either gross incompetence or selling out. I don't know or particularly care which it is. Both are bad. He goes on, tell me about the plan. Millions of people around the world are dead from Pfizer's COVID mRNA vaccines. That's a hard truth. That's an on the table hard truth that they won't acknowledge. He goes on, millions more are sick. They are developing turbo cancers or have been permanently disabled. Tell me, asks Tom Renz, Donald Trump and Kennedy Jr., tell me about the plan for accountability. Tell me what is being done to hold a company accountable that has produced a product contaminated with cancer-causing SV40 and enhancers while getting billions in taxpayer funds. Tell me about the plan for criminal trials against the people that received complete immunity from any civil action and poisoned millions of people for profit. This company has in its own files evidence of shedding, danger to men and women's reproductive systems, heart and circulatory damage, and many other issues. Those are the Pfizer files. Those are the files that Brooke Jackson succeeded in discovery for her lawsuit. By the way, Brooke and Warner Mendenhall will be on the show next week. They were the ones that got the 70,000 pages of Pfizer documentation regarding those clinical trials. Those Pfizer papers are the papers that Dr. Naomi Wolf, at the urging of Steve Bannon, who now doesn't seem to care. You'll never forget Steve Bannon tasking Naomi Wolf with going through 70,000 documents, those documents, some of them being thousands of pages long. Naomi Wolf did it, the hard work, and she rallied 3,000 volunteers, scientists, journalists, medical doctors, specialists to pour through those documents that culminated in the Pfizer papers that she released in book form. Steve Bannon cared about it then. He doesn't care about it now. He doesn't care that Pam Bondi is smashing down Brooke Jackson's case, trying to get it dismissed and thrown out, throwing wrench after wrench into her and Robert Barnes and Warner Mendenhall's attempts to achieve justice. Bannon doesn't care about that. Bobby Kennedy Jr. doesn't care about that. Bob Malone doesn't care about that. Jay Bhattacharya, where are you? Not only are you not going to go for justice with Pfizer, you're rewarding them and even engaging in a little shtick to promote one of their latest products that proves that their shots don't work, Paxlovid. This is a video. TJ, if you want to pull up one of our videos, in that press conference, Bobby Kennedy Jr. sneezed. Donald Trump freaked out and then demanded Paxlovid. It was a nice little ad for Pfizer's pharmaceutical product that is designed for people whose COVID vaccines don't work, who then get sick with COVID. But even if it's mild, go ahead and take this uber deadly pharmaceutical product, which, by the way, is currently under emergency use authorization, which means that Trump once again is recommending all of his people go out and take a product that turns them into a human experiment. He did the same thing with COVID-19. And now he's going to be complicit in harming and maiming potentially millions of people with his advertisement using the Oval Office for Paxlovid. There was a post out from Valerie Ann Smith, thank you very much, that goes over, it's linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show, goes over the black box warning for Paxlovid. Accompanied with that tweet that gives you all of the information that you will need was a video from, I don't even know who he is, but he's good. And he simply goes over the insert for Paxlovid. That's it. That's all he does is read to you, those of you who are not getting informed consent and are now being coerced and tricked and manipulated into taking this poison product on top of the poison that you've already injected into your body. Thank you, Donald Trump. This is what he had to say about Paxlovid and the very, very serious problems with Paxlovid. Let's run the tape right now.
Morning message, Informed Dissent, Friday, September 20th. Great to be with you. This is a long format video because what I'm going to share about Paxlovid is important, and I want to give you the rest of the answer. Paxlovid is a drug made by Pfizer. It's indicated for the treatment of mild to moderate COVID-19 in those who are at high risk for progression to severe disease, including hospitalization or death. Here's what you need to know. This is a combination medication that includes a repurposed HIV drug. Never mind that Pfizer makes a COVID vaccine that doesn't stop infection or transmission.
And
now awesome. They make a drug to treat the consequences.
I will listen to it, and then you can go right back to me afterwards. Thank you so much, TJ. Perfect.
There's a black box warning on it that's important for you to know about. You can see it there. I highlighted it. You see the black box around it. Here's what it says. Paxlovid includes ritonavir, a strong CYP3A inhibitor. Strong CYP3A inhibitor. The cytochrome P450 system, which is part of the CYP3A inhibitor system, is the mechanism by which about half of the pharmaceutical products that we might take gets detoxified in our body, primarily through the liver, also in the small intestines. So any drug that might be given, any drug that you might take that works through that system, includes about half of all drugs, and you take Paxlovid, it can be dangerous. Here's what the black box says. Which may lead to greater exposure of certain concomitant medications, resulting in potentially severe, life-threatening, or fatal events. So let's talk a little bit about that. There's an entire list of medications in the package insert. It's quite extensive of all the drugs that work through the CYP3A system, and it goes on and on and on. There's several pages of it. But what's important is that it includes very common medications that many people take. Statins for cholesterol, for example. Medications to treat enlarged prostate, antihypertensive medications, antiarrhythmic medications, certain anti-cancer drugs, anticoagulants like warfarin, antidepressants, SSRIs, Paxil, Lexapro, Prozac, Celexa, bupropion, trazodone, on and on and on. If you have gout and you're on colchicine, be careful. Anti-infective medications, if you're taking Biaxin, which is clarithromycin, or any erythromycin derivative. So there are so many medications, it's hard to even list them all. Calcium channel blockers for high blood pressure. I'm just going through this list. Other cardiovascular agents to treat high blood pressure. Corticosteroids. So if you're on prednisone, fluticasone. Fluticasone is the steroid, by the way, that's in Flonase, the nasal steroid to treat allergic rhinitis. Lovastatin, simvastatin. These are two statin medications to treat cholesterol. The point here is the following. Birth control pills, by the way, while I'm sorting through this list, that the pharmacist is supposed to review the entirety of this list with you before giving you Paxlovid, because as I read, if you're on any of these products, it can be dangerous. ED medications like Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, potentially dangerous. They are metabolized through the CYP3A4 cytochrome P450 system. Okay, so let's go on. This product, by the way, is being used under emergency use authorization, so take note of that. Also, section 13.1, yep, we've seen this before. Carcinogenicity studies have not been conducted. We don't know if this product could potentially cause cancer in your body. Dose-dependent increase in the incidence of adenomas, a type of tumor, and combined carcinomas in the liver. These were studies that were done on rats with one of the components of this drug. So the bottom line is this. If you read through the package insert, this drug has all kinds of problems, which is why I don't use it. Also because we have phenomenal alternatives to this drug, including, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, nutraceuticals, various supplements, and the like. So great caution should be used before considering Paxlovid. I hope this is helpful. I look forward to your comments. Take care.
Yes, that was actually very, very helpful. And isn't it tragic that you have to get the truth about products like Paxlovid from a podcast and a short on Twitter? because people like Donald Trump, Bobby Kennedy Jr., Jay Bhattacharya, Marty Macri will not give that information to you. Like they won't, even for informed consent. The idea that they are pimping Paxlovid is so disgusting. CJP Rumble, how could you call yourself a medical professional and recommend this garbage Paxlovid? And make no mistake, that was a reality TV drop-in ad, by the way. Did Bobby Kennedy really sneeze? Was he planning on sneezing? Was it really organic and an organic engagement? Maybe it was, but I have a feeling that Trump was planning on dropping in a Paxlovid ad read into that press conference at some point because it was probably worked out in the deal. And if you're wondering, oh, is Shannon saying that everything going on in Washington, D.C. is a scripted reality TV show? Yeah, I'm kind of saying that. And by the way, I'm not proud of it, but one of my guilty pleasures, I mean, full on, since The Real World New York in 1992 and The Real Housewives today, I confess I am a reality TV junkie. I prefer to call myself a connoisseur, like anything. Below Deck, reality, you name it, I'm going to watch it. Devastatingly Handsome Dr. Joy mocks me relentlessly for this. He shames me for it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like that, and I just need to come down and not think I'm watching reality TV. Now, that being said, it has served me well because I think I am actually in the perfect position today to do political analysis, like the most 100% pinpoint accurate political analysis on the planet, because I can see the reality TV show in Washington, D.C. and the reality TV president, Donald Trump, for what they really are. And yeah, it's, loosely scripted. It's real, but it's not really real. And they're working deals on the back end. Now, the real part of it is that it has enormous impact on your life, your economic future, your liberty, your freedom, your life, your livelihood, the lives of your children. And we saw that very clear with the lockdowns and the rollout of Operation Warp Speed. So what they're doing in their little sideshow reality TV game in Washington, D.C. has great impact on we the people. And that's why we have to just ignore it. That's like the key to the game in politics, which is why I loved this headline from Rasmussen. Thank you, Jesus. This is delicious. Are you ready for this? Scott Rasmussen on Twitter yesterday ran a poll about the government shutdown. Yeah, by the way, there's a government shutdown happening right now. Again, scripted reality TV. They're going to make their deals in the back room. Everyone's going to stuff their pockets full of pork because that's the only reason Washington, D.C. exists today, which we're actually learning with the lockdowns. Or I'm sorry, not the lockdowns, with the government shutdown. But Scott Rasmussen runs a poll, and 29% of voters, not Americans, registered voters, do not know that there's a partial government shutdown happening right now. 6% say they have been impacted a lot. And the takeaway is that this is a Washington, D.C. circus, sideshow, reality D.C. story, not anything that impacts the rest of the United States of America. And that is actually a good thing. It's also a clue. When 1/3 of the government shuts down and no one cares or notices, that is a signal that that 1/3 of the government is superfluous, right? It is unnecessary. It is non-essential. And as the government tries to determine whether you or I am non-essential and likes to divide us up into essential versus non-essential like they did during COVID, remember, the billionaire oligarch elites are essential and everyone else is non-essential. You can die, you can be poisoned, you can lose your job, your livelihood, your business crushed by inflation, out of a job, you name it. You're not essential. They're essential. It's time that we, the people of the United States of America, turn that on its face and we start to decide what parts of government are essential versus non-essential, and kick these assholes to the curb. I'm sorry, pardon my French. Have been swearing like a trucker lately. I confess. Forgive me. But every once in a while, I just have to vent a little bit. But so yeah, stay away from the Paxlovid. All right. Or at least get the package insert, read it for yourself. And if you're taking any of the 1,000 drugs that it could, literally kill you if you take it with, then yeah, you might want to stay away from it. By the way, it includes HIV AIDS drugs as well. It's just horrifying. This is linked, by the way. I linked the video and also the overview in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. So if you want to go click on that, send it out to everyone you know if they're thinking about taking Paxlovid. And I know it's crazy, but listen, there's still a portion of the country that is full in mass formation in the Donald Trump cult. And they're the ones out there right now making the excuses for Donald Trump as well. Let's see who we have. Ralph the Flying Dutchman. Love that name. We already had the final solution in Europe. Let's hope that history doesn't repeat itself. Evil exists for that reason. And I am a fan of Detective Joe Kenda from Colorado. We need investigations. Well, this is very interesting. And it was one of the things that was very interesting to me yesterday in Mary Talley Bowden's interview with Warner Mendenhall and Brooke Jackson. They talked about justice, and they talked also about the root of vaccine law and health law in the United States of America. And it is rooted in eugenics. It is once again an elite class with God complex syndrome, trying to control the actions of the masses, us little people, and use science and technology and birth control or sterilization, which they've achieved in the latest round of the rollout of the COVID shots for a vast number of women, right? But essentially the creation of the master race through birth control, sterilization, vaccination, and euthanasia. All of it from birth to death. They want to decide when you live, when you die, and when you receive health care. And so our job as the little people is to stay alive. That is why we do so much work with so many companies about natural solutions for health, keeping your body super healthy so that you never have to even enter the medical industrial complex. Because once you do, man, it's a vicious cycle. They put you on one pharma, then you have a side effect, you need another pharma, then you have another side effect, you need another pharma. It injures you in this one way. So now you have to take other pharmaceutical products in order to treat the injury from the first pharmaceutical product or the vaccine, or you name it. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. You don't want that to happen. So listen up when we talk about Juvenon blood flow and we talk about kimchi and all of the native path supplements. That's one of the reasons. So we're going to go, speaking of some of our sponsors, we're going to go to a quick break here in the Shannon Joy Show. I have more videos for you. Very funny video from a very funny comedian. And I don't know his name. I forget his name, but we come back. We'll look at his reaction to the unholy alliance between Donald Trump and Pfizer, and also some of the other news of the day. I mentioned there are some great voices out there in medical freedom movement that are speaking up and standing up and calling a spade a spade. This alliance between Trump and pharma is outrageous. There are others who are trying to convince you that this is part of a larger plan, that Trump is the savior, and he's actually just brilliantly engaging in 12-dimensional chess. Only no one's buying the 12-dimensional chess story any longer, so they had to shake it up a little bit. Kevin McKernan now wants to call it a card trick. I guess when you're playing cards, it's called the cross ruff. That's what he's now trying to push out to justify the actions of President Trump. I kid you not. So there are many out there that once again are going to try to get you to believe that, this is all part of the big plan. All the QAnon people and the prophets like Julie Green, who goes out and it's, have you ever seen a Julie Green video? It's outrageous, absolutely outrageous. but Christians believe it, and they believe in her. She's a false prophet. We don't need to go into it. But anyway, there are all different versions of how to trick people into thinking that, Trump isn't completely betraying them. And I got to give him credit. They come up with a lot of really great stories. Kevin McKernan, and we like him. He did all the work in the DNA. He found out that, the COVID shots were contaminated with cancer genes and DNA and you name it. He's done great work. I think he should stick to being a geneticist and get out of political analysis, because he just doesn't get it. And we're not allowed to be chumps at this point. We've been chumps for Trump for way too long. And so we're going to take that apart when we come back on the Shannon Joy Show, and also look at a couple other stories. So keep it tuned right here. We'll be back in a minute. Yes, we'll get back to that live chat as well right here on the show. Shannon Joy here for PCM and Associates. If we've learned anything over the past 4 years, it's to expect the unexpected. Well, proper asset allocation can minimize the impact of the unexpected. From inflation to tax rates to energy efficiencies, we can never really know what we're going to get. Allocating funds among various categories like growth, income, international, tangible assets, and cash can help investors prepare for anything. PCM and Associates practices asset allocation for a rate of return. Call Don Polano today at 1-800-536-1368. That's 1-800-536-1368 for financial independence with a wealth manager who shares your values. Call Dom today.
This is Jennifer with darkbags.com. I wanted to show you our latest product. This is our laptop sleeve that has a over-the-shoulder carrying strap, as well as these two straps on the side, so you can kind of hold it like a briefcase. What's special about this is that there's actually a Faraday bag built in to this backpack that fits up to a 17-inch laptop. So here's my laptop. I'm going to put it in. Once you put your laptop into this sleeve, your company can no longer track you, because they do track you after you log off of work and you put your computer to the side. They're still tracking you wherever you go. Another thing that's awesome about the Faraday pouch that's in this bag is that it blocks excessive EMF radiation that's being emitted to you, so that those harmful pulses will not reach you. And also, in case there's an EMP, this protects your electronics from the EMP. So not only does it fit your laptop, you can put your phone, you can put your wallet in here as well, and it will be protected. There is cushioning on the sides, so it'll keep all of your electronic accessories safe in here. This will be available on darkbags.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show, sat123.com/joy. Make sure you use the JOY promo code every single time you shop at the satellite phone store. Obviously, they have the dark bags. That was Jennifer. I love her. I love the entire team over at the satellite phone store. They have the Faraday bags, the Faraday beanies, the blankets, generators, solar panels. Obviously, the satellite phones, they're always running amazing deals for the Shannon Joy Show audience over at at the satellite phone store at sat123.com/joy. And again, do not shop there without using that promo code JOY, because they'll give you an extra 10% off. Before we get to the live chat, and yes, Green Tea 369, I asked a question earlier, Shannon. It has an arrow on it. Would love to hear your response. Green Tea, if you wouldn't mind just popping that question in the live chat once again right now, so that when I can get to it, I'll read it and answer it for you. But before we get to the live chat, I do want to thank our sponsors over at Juvenon Blood Flow. Blood Flow 7, an amazing product. Your blood's so important. It delivers oxygen to every aspect of your body, your brain, your heart, your lungs. And that oxygen, it is healing, it is life sustaining, it is absolutely necessary. If your blood isn't flowing properly, which so many Americans, because they've had multiple COVID shots, the spike protein, the mRNA technology, you name it, this is why we're having blood clotting. It is devastating. You have to make sure that your blood is flowing. And that is the mission of the folks over at Blood Flow 7. Here is some data. A recent study, there have been a ton of studies. Nitric oxide is huge. And there have been a lot of recent studies showing how healing it is, anti-aging healing. It is a super healing element. But a study in biochemical and biophysical research communications mentioned that nitric oxide can reduce what they call arterial stiffness. All right. But this research was conducted on animals, not humans yet. But for heart disease, the research was somewhat mixed, but it was showing a lot of benefits. There was also a study from the 223 in the News Medical. It highlighted a clinical trial showing that high dose inhaled nitric oxide improved oxygenation in patients with severe COVID-19 respiratory failure. They also, when they were treated with INO, they also showed fewer long-term neurological symptoms and lower levels of the SARS-CoV-2 virus in their blood and sputum. So there's a research study from the University of Alabama in 2024, a research study from the University of Exeter that was just released, and also an article in Men's Health that featured a compilation of these studies just showing just how beneficial nitric oxide can be and its role and potential in combating potential cancer developments. So this is the product featured in Juvenile Blood Flow. So if you go to bloodflow7.com/joy, that's bloodflow7.com/joy right now for this audience, 25% off plus free shipping. It is a botanical complex. It boosts your nitric oxide production. Okay. It has trans-resveratrol. It helps to support the healthy blood flow. And it's a daily supplement. So you take it every day. It's a patented formula, and it works by boosting the body's nitric oxide NO levels up to 230%, and also opening the arteries up to 62% to improve your blood flow through your body and deliver that oxygen. In fact, we had David Knight on the Shannon Joy Show a couple days ago, and he was singing the praises of this type of product. He doesn't use Blood Flow 7, but he does use a product like this that boosts nitric oxide. If you have a family member or a loved one who has heart issues, heart conditions, if you have a family member or a loved one who was injured by COVID vaccines or COVID itself, blood clotting, any of those issues, this is the type of product that you want them to be on and that you want to be on yourself. So bloodflow7.com/joy. That's bloodflow7.com/joy. Right now, 25% off. This is a limited time offer. You also get free shipping. You can peruse their 5,000 five-star reviews. It's a great product. So once again, bloodflow7.com/joy. It's number 7, bloodflow7.com/joy. And I don't think you need a promo code to get the deal. No, you just go right to my URL and my link. Okay. So thank you to Juvenon, amazing partner of the Shannon Joy Show. CJP Rumble is with us on Bill Benz making fun of me about my pronunciations. I know I get tongue-tied sometimes. Sometimes because I have a lot going on up in the brain and I have a limited time to bring it all to you. I have a 90-minute show. And so if you guys could see my show prep, I usually have a stack this high and I get to about that much of it every single day. People are like, Shannon, do you run out of things to talk about on your show? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's going through the piles of information and choosing what to talk about, which is the difficulty. Fidget guy, fidgety guy, beetroot extract and hawthorn berry extract can increase blood flow to the heart and widen blood vessels. The blood vessel dilation is what reduces blood pressure. I love that. And I feel like this might have beetroot in it. I'll have to look at the bottle. But it's S7 botanical complex, transresveratrol, bioperine. Good stuff. Zen Woman is with us on the live chat as well. And I am looking now for the question from Green Tea 369, which I don't see. So Green Tea, if you are there, strident conservative, chumps for Trump sounds like a great merch idea for coffee mugs and t-shirts. It'd have to be like, we'd have to figure out a way to do it. But yeah, chumps for Trump, man. I coined that, by the way. That's mine. Beetroot powder rocks, says CJP Rumble. Let's take a look. We got the name Jim Breuer. Have you guys ever heard of Jim Breuer? So he's a comedian and he's one of us. He was one of the guys questioning everything in the dark days of COVID-19 during the lockdowns and mocking some of the more ridiculous elements of the lockdown countermeasures. It was actually a military operation. And I was glad to see Guitar Lily. I got to teach Shannon how to say these medical terms in my reads. I know I don't medical like terms and jargon, just not. Yeah, I can't do it. Anyway, great video. So Guitar Lily, love Jim Breuer, Mr. Worthless Leader. Jim is good. CJP Rumble, I watch him all the time. Okay, anyway, Jim Breuer, he did like a 9-minute shtick on the latest unholy alliance and massive betrayal, just like massive in-your-face, double-barreled middle finger to the medical freedom community from Donald Trump. I mean, getting into bed with Albert Bourla, the number one criminal, the CEO of Pfizer, who is actually, I mean, there's a lawsuit in the Netherlands against Bourla accusing him of crimes against humanity. Well, he and Trump now in a naming licensing agreement, Trump RX, which is just insane. Anyway, Jim Breuer responded to that like right after it happened and kicked off the revolt. Okay. The theme of today, bottom line is medical freedom community is not accepting this. And to the point where many are calling for Bobby Kennedy Jr. to resign from HHS. It's over. The fat lady has sung. The cow is out of the barn. The cat is out of the bag. They're not coming to save us. It's not 12-dimensional chess. And it certainly isn't cross rough, Kevin McKernan. But Jim Breuer saw through it from the very beginning. Let's take a look at what he had to say, and then we'll come back for more discussion right here on the live chat. Again, put your questions up in the live chat if you have any of them, comments as well. I'll be reading them today. Let's go to Jim Breuer and see his reaction to the unholy alliance between Trump and Albert Bourla.
This is Is this Impractical Jokers? Is that what's going on? This is the Impractical Jokers. They're like, here's on the new season of Impractical Jokers. Here's season 1. Trump, what do you need me to do? I'm usually not, I need some comedy. Okay, we're going to take the head of Pfizer. You mean the one during, yes, that one. And we're going to put him on the grand stage, and you're going to say he did a terrific job during COVID, even though I don't know if the whole MAGA movement's gonna back it. They love you. Listen, and not only do you bring him out and say he's terrific, then you say he gets to make the vaccines here. RFK, what do you think? I don't like this joke at all. I don't like it at all. I know I'm making for his voice. It has nothing to do with the voice. It's either that or this is a mob. This is Albert going, last week, you have RFK Jr. uns telling the world that we put mercury and aluminums in the vaccines.
I agree with you, Zen Woman, with the comment. I realize I've lost my sense of humor and fun in the last few years. I needed to hear this today. Like, you have to laugh or you will stick your head in the oven with the shit that we are dealing with today. And Jim Brewer is the best. Like, he's incredulous. And that's the thing. I mean, these rug pulls are utterly breathtaking. There's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no way to explain this other than they're doing this on purpose. Like, it's a conditioning. It's a humiliation ritual. They're telling us exactly who they are. And sometimes I wonder if they're testing us, if they're seeing how far they can push, how blatantly they can mock us and betray us and murder our children and just do these wicked things and they, gauge our response, right? Like, how many of our influencers do we still have on the reservation, right? I mean, how many of them can we throw another, $2,000 or $7,000 per tweet? By the way, Bibi Netanyahu, who says that social media is the most important weapon. Okay, they're telling us something here. Bibi Netanyahu acknowledging that social media is a weapon, benefiting now from the sweetheart deal that Donald Trump wrote an executive order so that Larry Ellison could purchase the majority of TikTok. So now Ellison is handing TikTok to Bibi, and Bibi is now going to propagandize the majority of the young people because, the young people are turning against Israel. That's the whole marketing problem that Bibi and Israel have right now because people are just not buying it anymore. They're not buying the wars, the endless wars, the lockdowns, the shutdowns, and all of the things, right? So Bibi is now hiring a PR firm. I don't have the name. Yeah, Responsible Statecraft ran this article. $7,000 per tweet to tweet nice things about Israel, or maybe hammer people and call them anti-Semites who have a problem with the policies and the practices of the government of Israel. And no, this is not about the Jews, okay? Scapegoating the Jews is lazy, and it takes the scrutiny off of Trump and our own vicious scoundrels here in the United States of America. So this idea that Bibi is some Svengali who is running Trump around and telling him what to do is ridiculous, in my point. Who knows who is wagging the tail at this point? But we know we have our own scoundrels, our own intelligence agency, and bought off, paid off politicians in the United States of America. Let Israel deal with their criminals. We can deal with our criminals here in the US. Okay. But yeah, of course you can criticize Israel for what they're doing in Gaza. Okay. And crimes against humanity. We should criticize Israel for what they did to their own people during the lockdowns of 2020. When Bibi Netanyahu signed a deal with Albert Bourla and Pfizer and turned every Israeli citizen into a guinea pig, handing them over to Pfizer to become lab rats. In fact, they coerced and forced some of the worst coercive and forced vaccination policies in the world under Bibi Netanyahu and in Israel. So let's just be over that. And yeah, I guess call it a Zionist if you want. Everyone's obsessed with using the word Zionist. It doesn't matter. It is a cabal of criminal oligarchs, tech bros, and elites globally working together to coerce, blackmail, and buy off our politicians. And here in the United States of America and in Western democracies, they have purchased most of them. Okay, so there are Jewish bad guys and Christian bad guys and Muslim bad guys, and they come in all shapes and sizes. There are black bad guys and white bad guys and female versions and male versions, transgendered versions, LGBTQ versions of all of the bad guys who are doing the bad things to we the people. All right, so that's just a side note. All right. Yeah, exactly. So much for never forget, BB. Absolutely. Fidgety Guy says the criminal cabal equals the Freemasons. And yeah, I just don't know. I don't really think that any of them are particularly religious at all. So I think that they operate, they're just vicious predators. And they all have different reasons and different gods that they follow and believe in and crazy things that they believe in. I don't think it's beneficial for us to try to divide them up. I'm watching the live chat right now because see, it always goes back to the Jews and aliens when we have these conversations, and it doesn't need to. All right, we have bad guys right in our midst, and we need to take care of them. So let's go. So thank you very much, Jim Brewer, for the much needed levity. And so this brings me though to the growing minority of influencers and the ever dwindling influencer class on social media still humping Trump. Okay. And we have, the Tim Pools and the Laura Loomers and the Benny Johnsons and obviously everyone on right-wing talk radio. So Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, Fox News, all of them, ridiculous, right? But in the influencer class, some of the so-called independents are now tasked with a very difficult job. If you feel sorry for Bobby Kennedy Jr., who has to stand behind this president as he just rips the rug out and erases 20 years of your legacy. It's why I would never go to, it's why I said to you guys like 8 months ago, do not send Bobby Kennedy to Washington, D.C. He will only lose his base, lose his credibility, and probably lose his mind. Okay? Like every person that gets in proximity of the psyop that is Donald Trump, all right? That's why you don't get anywhere near it. You don't go to Mar-a-Lago. You don't take the deals. You don't do the binder deal and go, with Pam Bondi. And, as you saw Cernovich, libs of TikTok, she's a total fraud, absolute fraud. They all just peddle in like hyper divisive, partisan, like we hate leftists, which yeah, we do hate a lot of leftists. A lot of them are really bad, but they ignore the biggest, fattest, most grotesque leftist on the face of the planet today, and that's Donald Trump, the New York City liberal Democrat leftist that is posing as some kind of freedom fighter, right? So if they can't spot a leftist in Donald Trump, but are, dedicated to just stirring up the fear porn and the hatred and the division, this is why I never use any of them. Cernovich, Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Laura Loomer, I'll name them. I don't care. These people are awful. Put some names in the live chat if I'm missing anyone. We mentioned Cernovich. Who is the other one? I call them Bizarro Con, like Andrew Tate. Anyone who's supporting Andrew Tate, is not the good guy. Clones. Who do we have here? So I keep going off. I keep digressing. But anyway, I'm not saying that Kevin McKernan is one of those people. The medical freedom community is a little more genteel, but there are still holdouts in the medical freedom community that are trying to kind of keep MAHA cobbled together. And Kevin McKernan is one that continues to give a pass over and over and over, particularly for Donald Trump. And he did this on Twitter in like a 5-part tweet, one of those multi-tweet threads where he starts off with the premise and then goes in and explains it. And you guys know Kevin McKernan. He is the geneticist that very brilliant, incredibly brilliant, that was very critical in proving that the COVID shots were contaminated with SV40. It's a cancer component, and also DNA, among other very terrible things. So we have a lot of respect for Kevin McKernan and what he does in his work, in his field of expertise. I would say, as I have said about many of the doctors and scientists and brilliant researchers within the medical freedom movement, they are very good at research, not necessarily so good at politics, okay? And we got to know the difference. And so this is with all due respect. I'm just going to tear apart his premise right here because it's important. CJP Rumble, would Natalie and Clayton Morris come on the show? I don't know. I would love to have them on. I think that would be great. So this is what he wrote. Kevin McKernan is trying to regurgitate 12-dimensional chess to justify the betrayals that are right in our faces by Donald Trump. And so this is what he pushes out. Are you frustrated with the schizo behavior of the president of the United States of America on the vaccines? ? Me too, says Kevin McKernan. The ping pong is intentional. 1 week we have Ron Johnson. The next week we have Charlie Kirk. Then the ACIP meeting. Then the space vax out Tylenol debacle. Then, the demanding that Pfizer cough up 70 billion, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, if it's frustrating you and you're worried that Trump is betraying you, well, don't worry, because what you are witnessing is the cross rough. CROSSFRUF, which I have never heard of. But apparently, if you enjoy playing cards, and I'm not sure if it's poker or gin rummy or canasta, I don't know what it is, but it's a thing you do. And it's a very, very complicated. Then he goes, it takes him 5 additional tweets to go in and explain to you what the cross rough is. And you do it at this moment to trick out your opponent and make him think that you're doing all of these moves, but really you're doing all of those moves. And you got to go to the right and then the left and then up and down and into a circle and under the tunnel and through the woods. And then you have the explanation as to what Donald Trump just did, because it's the cross rough, right? So it's ridiculous. It's another version of trust the plan, QAnon, the prophecy, and 12-dimensional chess. Like, these are the ways that they get you to deny your own eyes, right? This is the way that they get you to say, wow, that emperor has a really sweet suit of clothing. I mean, look at that. It's gorgeous. It's glittery. I just love his clothes. Like, he's naked. He is buck naked. But you see, because we're corrupted and because of all kinds of things as adults, it's why that was Hans Christian Andersen's The Emperor's New Clothes. And it's a children's book. It's actually a very brilliant political commentary. It's a child who eventually snaps all of the people out of their days, their mass formation, their cult worship or their hypnosis. And you guys know the story. It's, the emperor, and he's rich and powerful, and no one wants to irritate him, and they all want money from him, because we're corrupt, right? So the adults want access, money, power. So they want to line up around this emperor. And so they become yes men. And they give him whatever he wants because they think they're going to get something out of it because we're corrupt, right? And, he has these swindlers that come in and they're like, oh, we're going to make you this beautiful robe, emperor. And it's totally fake. It's invisible. There's no thread. There's no loom. There's no nothing. These guys just convince the emperor that, that these clothes are real. And it's all kind of the way that it works is everyone's kind of reinforcing a lie. And as everyone reinforces the lie because they don't want to piss off the emperor, they all start to believe the lie kind of. And then everyone is lying, like his advisors, his scientists, his researchers, all the politicians, all the townspeople, the moms and dads, the merchants, like everyone is reinforcing this great lie when the guy is standing there naked. And it's not until the very end of the book, and it's because they're corrupted, but you need something innocent, someone innocent who's just going to tell the truth. And that's why he uses a child. And the guy's like, he doesn't have any clothes on, you morons, you chumps. But like that story, that's politics, right? It's marketing, it's politics. And that's, I think, what we are experiencing right now with this. It's one lie after another. These are whoppers of lies too. And there is always a justification. There's always an explanation. There's always a reason for it. And so we all then begin to believe in those lies. And I think that's why we're in the pickle that we're in today. MAHA, Make America Hypnotized Again. Seriously, in my 12 years, I have watched mass formation in a small yet large enough minority of our population go into full-scale cult worship. We saw mass formation around Barack Obama. We saw what I believe is the strongest mass formation, the most critical and strongest mass formation around Donald Trump. We saw mass formation during COVID-19 and the lockdowns of COVID-19, the fear and the hypnosis and that led people to do absurd things like wear filthy rags on their faces for 8 months. We saw another new mass formation, the trauma inflicted on the American people and the right during the Biden administration set them up in such a hatred and fear space that they they formed around Trump again. The guy who did it to them in the first place. That's how strong the Trump formation is that even the people who saw it, who got it within the medical freedom communities, fell into it and foolishly believed that the guy who locked them down in the first place was going to be the guy to set them free in his second term. We saw through that from day one here in the Shannon Joy Show, and we have been calling it out. But what Kevin McKernan is engaging in now is a form of deception, whether he realizes it or not. It is not 12-dimensional chess. It is not complicated end times apocalyptic prophecy. It is not trust the plan. It is not a brilliant marketing strategy. Okay. It's all a lie. The emperor is naked. Trump is naked. And it's time that we see him for who he is. Exactly who he is. And I think that it's much simpler than anyone imagines. People have tried to liken Trump's behavior, his bizarre behavior, and his violent betrayals for years, calling it four-dimensional chess, which was absurd, and a desperate attempt, I believe, to rationalize the irrational in the pursuit of hope. So now calling it cross-rough in a card game is equally absurd, Kevin, in my humble opinion. So you got to go with the simplest explanation. Trump isn't a champion. He is a con man. He will always work the deals for himself, for his family. He doesn't care about you. He has never cared about you. He doesn't think about you, and he never will. He has much less power than you think that he has because he's never really been elected. He has always been installed, selected. He's a front man. He's the brand. He's a con man, and he's doing the bidding of the people who put him in office. Susie Wiles is his handler, and she represents these massive interests who are looking to push us into the new world order and the digital prison. And Trump is the Pied Piper, the magician, the Svengali that has been tasked to lead you all off a cliff. That's what he's doing. He's playing a role. He is a reality TV creation. He doesn't care that his COVID shot has killed millions, and he never will. You are pawns. You are peons. You don't exist in his world. He is not an outsider. He is and has always been an insider. And that is why he is connected at the hip with Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein's criminal operation, which is not just about sex trafficking and raping children. It's also about drug trafficking, narcotics trafficking, weapons trafficking, human trafficking, and money laundering. It is a criminal operation. And Trump is the guy that they have tasked with trying to trick you into believing that this is politics as usual. He will pump you full of Paxlovid for a naming rights deal. He will pump mRNA into your veins as long as it stuffs his pocket and he works his deal on the back end. He is a predator. He always has been, and he always will be. He was purchased for his brand to play the role of the president, to create maximum chaos and division before the economic collapse so that we didn't notice his plundering and also the plundering of the elites. Future as, it's not Trump, it's the people who control him. Yes. And it's not the Jews, okay? So stop it with that's so lazy. That analysis is lazy, okay? It is not any religion. It is a group of people who come together. They have lots of money and power. They represent all different religions, and they're vicious. They're evil. They have God complex. They probably do worship Satan, okay? I don't know what they do in their secret meetings and how they plan this stuff, and I don't care. All I care about is the discernible policy outcome, the fruit of what they're doing in their dark rooms. Way too many people spend way too much time trying to figure out what they're doing in their dark rooms. I don't care. All I know is I don't want it. Whatever it is that is coming out of your secret meetings, we need to say no. All right? Ralph the Flying Dutchman, 100% right, Shannon. Thank you. This is just my opinion. You guys can agree with me, you can disagree with me, but I did think that I commented on, I hope Kevin McKernan doesn't get mad at me. I've been trying to get him on the show. He won't come on my show. There are a few there who will not come on my show. I'm not saying it's because he doesn't want to. But yeah, I did feel it necessary to nip in the bud any type of discussion about how what we have seen over the past couple of weeks with these betrayals is anything but it's right in your face. Okay. They're taking off the mask. They want us to see it. They would much rather we just acknowledge that we're slaves than try to pretend that they actually care about the people. I mean, that's how these elites operate. They want to take off the mask. They want to show us who they are, because then that would fully establish their power, right? When they can just be out there in all their glory and be like, you are slaves, you are peons, you have no rights, we will kill you, we will maim you, we will relocate you. Like, they want us to be accustomed and acclimated to that and accept it. And that's how they know they win. So this is why we just need to reject it. So anyway, Novak fan. I think we might have a couple trolls on the live chat today, but that's okay. Scott Gordon is with us. 100% Shannon. They want us attacking the Jews so that they can hide behind them. Oh yeah, poor little baby Trump. Oh, the victim casting, that is another tactic and technique, right? Like, anytime Trump gets in trouble, they got to like victim cast him, right? So this is perfection for them. They can, all these people can rage about the same things that you're raging about, but then they distract you away from Trump and our CIA and the oligarchs and the technocrats here in the United States of America. They divert your attention to another funnel, right? So then you go down the rabbit hole on the Jews and they gotcha. Don't do that. Anyone who says to you it's the Christians or the blacks or the Muslims or the, men or women or any of those, any divisive type of rhetoric, if you hear that from anyone, you need to dismiss them immediately as a source, immediately, because it's just low level, it's ignorant, it's simplistic thinking, and they're probably using it as a tactic to divide you and distract you from what is actually happening. There's so much we can do to stop all of this. In fact, the culture is winning in so many ways. Like that Rasmussen poll, I'll leave you with this today because we're just about at the end of the show. I think we are just at 85 minutes, maybe. Try to keep it to a 90-minute show. This is why I love the Rasmussen poll. 30% of the voting public in the United States of America does not even know that there is a partial government shutdown happening right now. Everyone's freaking out in Washington, D.C., and that's our clue. That's how we know that most of what goes on in Washington, D.C. is non-essential. It's mainly all of these elite brokers and criminals going to Washington, D.C., and stuffing their money and just working the system to stuff money in their pockets and create deals and all of the things. And that's why we really don't need them. We have lots of local, robust governments across the country. We have municipalities, we have state governments, local governments. We can do 99% of the governing stuff from the bottom up, local level and state level. We just don't need the feds. We don't need Trump. We don't need really Congress. We should relegate them back to their appropriate role, which is the least amount of power in the United States of America. We're completely inverted right now. Like we, the individual, the sovereign, we are ordained by God with inalienable rights. Okay? They cannot take that away. We are the power. And when we engage and we understand our rights in our local communities and build up strong bonds here in local communities, then we can achieve whatever we need to achieve at the local level. All right? So let's do this. TJ is producing the show. And if you could just pop in my ear really quick, TJ, and let me know how close we are to 90 minutes, because I would like to try to wrap this up right at 90 minutes if I can. And I don't know if I have much time left, but I would like to say hello to. Okay, I'm over. Of course I'm over. 93 minutes. So no, thanks. See, TJ, he's enjoying the show. He said no rush. Let's take a couple of your comments and then we're going to pop out. Buskman is with us on the live chat. Ralph the Flying Dutchman, divide and conquer from ancient times. Yes, there's nothing new under the sun. Read the Bible. It's all you need to read. Old Testament, New Testament. It's the same story over and over and over. Never changes. Zen Woman, I see you on the live chat. And I'm looking for the question. I didn't forget you. Green Tea 369. I don't see your question. Rothen Walker has a comment. Yes, there are bad guys everywhere. And it's not all the Jews, but ignoring the fact that it is illegal to talk about what's going on in Israel and legal for every other group is notable. I talk about criticizing not Jews, but what's going on in Israel and Netanyahu and Israel all the time. And while maybe there have been some laws passed in Florida signed by Governor Ron DeSantis, which I'm very angry about, and also in red states across America, and maybe some presidential executive orders that have been written regarding free speech and what they call anti-Semitism, and basically speaking negatively about the Jews. And this started as something called Project Esther. It was rolled out by the Heritage Foundation in their Project 2025 as this like massive plan, kind of fascistic, to be honest. I mean, Heritage Foundation supposedly is constitutional, but I was horrified with about half of the stuff that they wanted Trump to do in that document, including the anti-speech provisions around Israel and Project Esther, which is basically speech control, right? If you criticize Israel or you attack, Israel, or I'm not sure exactly what they even define as anti-Semitism, but it could be very broad. Like you could maybe take parts of the New Testament and Christ's own words and the words of his disciples, if you wanted to, and twist them and fit them into those anti-Semitism provisions, right? So because he was very critical of the Sadducees and the Pharisees, who were the Jews. They were the religious order of the Jews in Jesus's time. So yeah, got to be really careful with that. I hear what you're saying, Rothen Walker. There are a gazillion bad laws. I mean, pharmaceutical immunity laws. Some of the case law that holds up eugenics that goes back 100 years. I mean, we probably have a mountain of terrible laws and pieces of legislation that absolutely violate the Constitution in a million ways. What I'm telling you right now, though, is I'm not seeing the manifest. I'm not seeing people arrested for saying things negative. And there are some awful things said by some of these Christian nationalists on the right that are just insane, that are disgusting about Jews and horrifying. And so I'm not seeing any of them being arrested for that. If someone were to be arrested for that, then tragically, I'd probably have to stand with the people saying vile things, because I do believe in free speech. And Esther was a great story, but they kind of bastardized it for sure. So that's all I have to say about that. All right, guys, I think we hit everything today on the show. Thank you to our sponsors. I do want to talk about Rocket Dollar before we close up the show. I mentioned yesterday, Henry Yoshida, one of the presidents over at Rocket Dollar, is going to be joining us next Thursday on the Shannon Joy Show. And I am pumped about this collaboration. So Rocket Dollar is a great company. You are going to love Henry's story. If you go to rocketdollar.com/joy, that is rocketdollar.com/joy, you can learn all about their services. But essentially, the mission behind Rocket Dollar is to allow every American to take a portion of their retirement savings account, whether it's $200,000, $500,000, you name it, but take a portion of that, move it into a self-directed IRA, and use that to invest in things that you have expertise in, things that you have. Okay, the things they have expertise in, things that you have particular knowledge in, even your local real estate, which is my favorite aspect. This service, which is great, with a self-directed IRA through Rocket Dollar, you could actually invest in real estate. You can flip homes. You can be one of those all cash offers that goes in and invests in your own community so that you can make it better. Everything from private equity to real estate, startups, precious metals, foreign investments. Everyone has some unique experience, and this allows you to take your experience, your unique knowledge, and use a portion of your retirement to invest in things that you know are going to be winners in the future. So it's just an amazing opportunity, very safe. So many, I think he was telling me that the younger generations, my generation, Gen Xers and younger, are just gobbling this up because and he's going to tell us all about how rigged and manipulated the investing, like what your 401k or IRA, what the managers are investing in right now, it is essentially the equivalent of like 8 multinational global corporations that own all of these subsidiaries, and they all trade with each other. It's like going into Wegmans, which is a grocery store here in Rochester, New York, and everything on the shelf is made by the same food producer, but they all have like different brands and different packaging. You think you're getting a choice, but you're not getting a choice. That's kind of what is going on with your large brokerage houses and these big investment firms that are running most 401ks. So this is your opportunity to get out. It's a parallel system of investing. And again, my favorite part of this is the real estate aspect. So you can learn more about this, rocketdollar.com/Shannon Joy, or is it rocketdollar.com/joy? Did I get it wrong? I keep getting these things wrong. We will pop the URL up in the live chat. But what I have here, rocketdollar.com/Shannon Joy, and you can learn all about it. So cannot wait to meet Henry and bring him to all of you. And it's going to be a great show. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for being with us today on the Shannon Joy Show. Thank you so much to our friends over at Died Suddenly, all of our partners who are carrying the Shannon Joy Show, all of you on the live chat. You guys are absolutely amazing. Once again, the funniest, funnest, nicest, kindest, smartest, friendliest live chat in all of Rumble. Thank you to our partners over at Rumble as well. We are going to be hosting a very, very fun and interactive town hall meeting. And we're going to be doing that behind the paywall for Rumble premium subscribers, which I'm going to give you all the information about that next week. I think we're going to do it on Friday of next week. I get to hear from all of you, and you get to call in. It's going to be a very cool thing. I cannot wait to give you details on that for next week. And yeah, we do really appreciate all the help that we get from our friends at Rumble. So you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll be back tomorrow to do it all again right here on the Shannon Joy Show.